Look, it's a flood.
Flood.
It's flooding.
Get away.
Quick, we need to get to higher ground.
Open the floodgates.
Fully convinced that a good 3/4, if not like 90% of these commercials were AI written. Even like the heartfelt ones still have that like Hallmark card quality to them.
But like that Coors Light ad where the super throwback ad, just like the train just, people running the world, your hand. And then, you know, the ice cold train, and then for some reason LL Cool J is there.
As the conductor, right? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that I wouldn't get on a train that had LL Cool J as the conductor.
But I didn't need to know that the conductor was
LL Cool J. Is that what y'all
also,
think?
I'm now a little bit more hesitant to get on the train knowing that it's LL Cool J.
This is my man.
I'm like,
have you ever...
itinerary is way too packed to learn how to operate a train made of ice that goes off-road and through buildings.
I would argue differently. At this point, I mean, the nigga's done enough, NCIS LA at this point that I'm sure his schedule's pretty open. That show's in syndication, isn't it? He's got to be getting some fair residual checks, right? I felt like for a second there, I thought he was gearing up for some kind of music revival thing, but I don't know. I don't see it in the cards. It's not on my 2024 bingo
I mean,
list.
I think the Paramount Plus commercial was really good, where they had like, that one was a great use of excess random celebrities.
That's the only one I've seen.
That's the only one, but that's because they're a streaming service.
That's the only one I've seen that doesn't feel ham-handed. I know that's not how the phrase goes, but it's my spin on it. Because it felt very hammy, dog. All these commercials have felt very hammy, very forced, very see us Zoomers. Do you see us?
We're gonna throw Jason Sudeikis in this commercial.
Yeah.
Why? Because fuck you.
Because we know you guys like celebrities, right? Like, you guys still like celebrities, right?
So we started recording just after the halftime show, so we have the game on, but what's worse, the commercials or the game so far?
Definitely this dry ass game. I mean, the AI generated commercials so far have left much to desire.
NFL season script?
There has not been an overwhelming amount of Taylor Swift so far, though.
My
so
Taylor count is at 2.
that narrative just kind of on one less than the Chiefs score at the moment as of
right?
recording, because the score is not rising up and crashing through this dry ass Super Bowl. It is the flood bringing some moisture back to your pop culture perspective,
With us putting culture in context.
to keep making sense of the mainstream, because if we don't
Make sense, we don't make.
just holla at that Patreon, because without you guys we couldn't afford that Super Bowl halftime show. Or
Shout out to Enraged Peacock and Volvino.
Volvino. I guess only he'll get that reference.
Yeah, no, that's the point. That is the point.
Oh, I thought the point was just to name him something different every week. Not
Well,
to
that is
get...
also the point.
Yeah, no, shout out to y'all for keeping the lights on and helping us get one step closer to getting our own terrible Super Bowl commercial. No, you guys know it would be much better than some of the shit that's... I mean, this is...
I would write it.
All of these commercials are fucking forgettable. The most memorable moment so far has been Peppa Pig being vaguely
Peppa
worried
Pig
that...
to be thrown into a cliffside by Patrick Stewart.
That's it.
While Drew Barrymore watches and Creed is there for some
Playing
reason.
in the background, because, you know, nobody ever asked for Creed to be played in the background, but it's
Ever.
always played in the background for some reason.
And then that ended around 2004, thank God. I blame Eddie Vedder for the bad string of rock bands from like 1999 to 2003.
Because they all wanted to sing like this. Look at this photograph.
All right, ready? Let's play a game. Pearl Jam or anyone else?
Damn, you know, it's probably best that you cut me off like normal because I was getting ready to make a Taylor Swift ass joke. Yo, fam, what I think is really funny is, once again, this is just, you know, credit to how much America loves white women, right? Because consistently, when the pictures of Beyonce looking all hulked out went viral after the Super Bowl, it took them forever to get those pulled down. And that's Queen Bee's team, right? Like, they're very good at, like, scrubbing the internet of any unfavorable images of Beyonce, right?
The Athletic posted this article, who is owned by the New York Times. Which Taylor Swift songs best describe the 2023 NFL season? Karma, Anti-Hero, Dear John.
What I'm saying,
and they
though...
go on to compare Aaron Rodgers to Dear John, and I'm like, this is the most reachiest of reach article ever, saying, like, she wrote music that she wrote 10 years ago about things that are happening in this NFL season.
That's not even what I was referencing. I was referencing how quickly those AI-generated images of Taylor Swift getting plowed by the Chiefs fucking lineup got pulled from Twitter. Dude, them shits, they're, like, gone. Like, any mention. And I saw, like, brief, waves of them scrolling, but I'm not concerned with Taylor Swift enough to have even actually stopped and looked at that shit. And then when I saw the drama that was going on around it, I kind of like doubled back to be like, oh wait, did I miss something? Because that shit was so like, it looked fake, right? There's no way anybody would have thought that was actually Taylor Swift, right?
I managed to avoid the Taylor AI pics and the Drake dick pic.
Yeah. Listen, y'all. Can we talk about the double standard, though? I'm so glad you brought it up, bro, because let's talk about the double standard here. When that shit happened to Taylor, everybody was like, that's disgusting. How could y'all celebrate some shit like that? The internet is really like...
The fappening.
The internet is really some trash, right? Like, it's akin to revenge porn, right? Is what they were saying. Now, they were talking about US laws getting made to protect Taylor Swift and her image, right? And her innocence. But when that video of Drake leaked, you thirsty motherfuckers was scouring. I saw more screen grabs on people's timelines than, oh my God, everybody and their grandma had something to say about this nigga Drake playing with his Canadian bacon. And I am absolutely disgusted at the double standard. Because it's not like Drake purposefully, now to our knowledge, it's not like Drake purposefully leaked that video. It is, to our knowledge, a stolen video, akin to revenge porn. And you motherfuckers was out here like, hey, listen, the video already out there, what I'm gonna do about it?
Look,
it was AI generated images of Taylor Swift, and you motherfuckers was ready to burn all of Twitter headquarters down.
Can we just talk for a second that the Super Bowl where Taylor Swift is heavily featured, they just had a full minute-long Beyonce ad?
I mean, what did you think they was gonna do? Jay-Z literally went upstage on the Grammys and, you know, as Beyonce was giving her, what was it, Lifetime Achievement or whatever they gave her, you know, talked about how it's insane that she's been nominated for all those Grammys yet hasn't won one on the same night that Taylor swept, my nigga. So, everybody...
The same night that Killer Mike swept.
And then proceeded to get arrested. Oh, this is the couch potato commercial?
Yeah. It's like so... unironically idiocracy.
Well, I mean, you know, that's what the talk is now, is we're all just escapist, addicted, just mindless screen drones, right? If it's not your cell phone, it's your laptop. If it's not your laptop.
Around that, though.
It's their way of being tongue-in-cheek, right? Like when celebrities talk about joining the Illuminati. I mean, so back to I just want to talk about the hypocrisy, right? Like, and yes, I was doing it in an ironic sense because I don't really give a fuck about either one. I do and will say that posting people's private pictures on the internet without their consent is bad. Point blank, period. I don't care if they're AI generated or if it's a celebrity who we all want to know like what they look like, right? It's still
bad.
Not okay.
Not good.
Regardless, point blank, period. But I also don't give a fuck because do you think even now the rumor is it's not Drake, it's a model, right? Of course, like it always ends up being. But do you think Drake give a fuck? That nigga did him a favor. Even if it isn't Drake, now everybody think like Boogie Nights and Mark Wahlberg and how they were like, it came out that, oh, that wasn't really Mark Wahlberg. It was a prop penis or whatever. Do you think, yeah, okay, because Mark was going to fight that one, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's like the fucking, the scam where you go on a sketchy porn site or you try to talk to some sketchy OnlyFans model and they're like, haha, we recorded you beating your meat. If you don't send us 1,500 Bitcoin, we'll send this picture to everybody in your contact list or whatever. I'm like, okay, go ahead. Do you think I'm going to be ashamed to let everybody know what I'm packing? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll tell everybody. No, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't post this. Also, I don't know about the rest of you lame ass niggas taking dry ass pictures of your ashy ass meat. I have nothing but glorious meat shots in my phone. So go ahead and leak. Every single last one of my dick pics belongs in the MoMA, nigga. What are you talking about? Whole ass wings could be opened up in art museums dedicated to my nudes. The fuck out of here. Leonardo DiCaprio would draw me. Like, what are you talking about? Fuck out of here. I wish you would. That's how dry the Super Bowl is. We're talking about my meat. It ain't pigskin.
There are so many things that I am thinking right now, and all I have left is speechless.
I hope you're not thinking about my meat too much. I feel like I've said my meat more times than they showed Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl.
That is a fact. The Taylor count is still at 2 at last I checked.
You'll get a special shout out if you can count how many times I bring up my meat throughout the rest of the episode.
Whoever gets the right number, I'll cash out the
Hey, yo, you keeping track of my meat is crazy. Pause. Major pause. What else you been keeping track of this week, Zig?
Well, a few things that come out. Some news. Like, apparently there's a new PS2.
A few things that have come out that aren't my meat.
Taylor counted 3.
Oh, and she's sitting next to Ice Spice, who looks like she's confused. She's like, wait, so what team does your boyfriend play for again?
The red one, like your hair.
Jesus Christ. PlayStation Portal, it's about fucking time,
yeah,
bro.
Apparently it's just going to be a PS5 portable, which I'm all about because...
So it's a PSP 2 that is actually just a PS5.
PSP 2.5.
I'm fucking with it. Because, you know, Nintendo needs some healthy competition.
Killer Mike got arrested after sweeping the Grammys.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. We'll go into detail a little bit here in a moment.
You said Jermaine Dupri's making a Freaknik movie?
We talked about the Freaknik movie a while back, but it looks like it's finally got a release date.
I've been watching a lot of critically acclaimed movies recently, and I can give my take on those.
Well, let's get into it, and let's get into it with talking about this Killer Mike Grammy thing, right?
This week's hit on the algorithm it's the Super Bowl.
It's this... It's probably Usher, right? It's something Usher after that halftime show performance, which...
Villain arc continues!
Did you see the way he was grabbing on Alicia Keys, right? Listen, her,
just takes his shirt off in the middle of the set. Why? Because he's Usher?
Yeah, for Janet, right? No, I mean, once again, free the nipple, because Usher certainly did. Yo, this was really just like, I feel like the final performance to wrap up his Las Vegas residency.
It felt kind of just like
It
like
felt
a canned performance.
It felt very Las Vegas residency, right? And he's been performing in Las Vegas for a couple of years now. I want to say he started shortly after COVID, so at least going back to 2021, I think it was much more like this performance was much more lively than that national anthem opener that Post Malone did, right?
So they did 2 national anthems. One was like Post Malone, and I didn't even realize Post Malone was doing the national anthem until like 30 seconds in.
I know y'all love Post Malone, but I'm like that national anthem. Damn.
Okay, I don't have anything.
Why the
Post
smoke
Malone.
for Post
I hate
Malone?
what Post Malone represents, which apparently right now is the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, ain't he from Texas? I'm not surprised about that. Is that Gwen Stefani? Yes, it is.
Yep.
Looking
Gwen
like a
Stefani, punk goddess.
queen. Lady Gaga, pop goddess. Beyonce and Jay there. Hey, yo, Jay and them
Next to Jack
dreads.
Dorsey. They don't even mention that was Jack Dorsey.
No, because Jack Dorsey looks so unassuming, and I feel like he did that. He's done that on purpose, so that way, you know, people don't beg him to come back to Twitter.
Jay-Z, whose suite is that? Is that Jack or Jay's suite?
That's
Is
a good
that
question.
Jack or Jay's suite?
I feel like it's Jack's suite. That's why he gets to play nonchalant like that, right?
I think it's Jack's suite too.
That's why they didn't name him.
Jack is like an unreasonable amount of money thanks to Elon.
Who has reduced X to the point where it is getting as much traffic as Pinterest is. So that's insane.
Really?
Yes.
Where's your source for that one?
I will have to go back and find it, but it is somewhere around the same amount as Pinterest, and I believe it because, once again, if you've been on the fucking hellscape that is X,
I open my my account on X, and I see these notifications, and I'm just like, oh, it's just a whole bunch of OnlyFans bots just following my account now.
OnlyFans bots, I am constantly just seeing like acts of cruelty all over the place. I mean, you guys got your wish. It is like fucking Twitter in 2006, bro. It is like, no, Twitter's not that old, but it's
Twitter came out in like 2008.
yeah, it is old Twitter again, bro. I mean, I opened my fucking timeline to a video of a dog completely just devouring a pigeon. So,
I mean,
like,
Twitter was at one point, Kevin Durant would tweet shit like, I would drink Scarlett Johansson's bathwater. You can pull that screenshot up from KD.
you just reminded me of the time that Lindsay Lohan had that, or not Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Bynes had that episode.
Super thirst trapped on Drake. I remember that.
And I just saw an interview where they asked her about that, and she was like, yeah, no, I did say I wanted Drake to murder my vagina. I was also on a lot of drugs at the time. And I was like, hey, look at Amanda Bynes with the self-awareness.
All right, so we also had another take about the second national anthem, Reba McEntire, and we were like, wait a second, Reba, country singer, has she avoided all of the slander? I think so. Do we know where she lies? We'll take an educated guess, but she never talks about it. She's like everybody's favorite aunt at Thanksgiving who refuses to talk politics.
I would put money on Reba McEntire not being a Donald Trump fan. Bro,
Yeah, me too. You don't like Biden either, though.
I'm not gonna say nobody likes Biden, right? I'm just gonna say we all know why we're here.
I'll tell you one thing that is on my 2024 bingo card.
Did you have the White House staff coming out and saying that Biden's mental state is questionable at best?
Either Trump, Pelosi, or Biden's gonna die. Or McConnell.
So I saw recently that in regards to his mishandling of classified documents, right? Because he was being investigated and on the verge of being prosecuted for mishandling classified documents as well.
During the Obama administration.
Yeah, they chose not to proceed with it because of the quality of his mental health and how he presented himself, and they perceive he would present himself as a forgetful old man to the jury if the trial were to proceed, and they don't believe that he, unlike Donald, mishandled the documents with malicious intent.
Oh, Donald definitely did it with malicious intent.
Specifically because Biden complied and returned the documents voluntarily without having to be raided like one said Donald Trump did. And, you know, there's
Holy shit, he's facing so much shit, I forgot that he got raided.
Like twice. I think they raided him once in New York and then again in Mar-a-Lago because he did not return the documents after he was asked to return the document. And like, what's extra ignorant about Donald is they gave him like ample time. They asked him like 3 different times. Speaking of keeping up with the times,
it was only a matter of time until Pedro Pascal found himself in the MCU.
You knew it was only a matter of time, right? Because he's like everybody's go-to.
And he's all over at Disney. He's
Joe,
Mandalorian.
yeah, he's like, Joe Everyman at the moment, right?
Joel Everyman. He's Joel Everyman.
Well, Joel Everyman has now found his spot in the MCU
as the least everyman man possible
in the MCU
as Reed Richards. Sorry, John Krasinski.
Yeah, listen, as much as we all wanted it to be John Krasinski, and because it can't be Donald Glover, I feel like I'm okay with this.
Donald Glover? Really?
As Reed Richards? Yeah, I think that would be pretty dope. But just because I'd like to see Donald Glover in more stuff, so in the hopes that maybe he'll become less pretentious, I don't know. That's not...
He is a little pretentious right now.
Not right now, kind of always has been.
I don't think Community...
Yeah, I still feel like even back then, but pretentious in the sense of I know I'm good enough to be leading this writing table, right? Like, and everybody who put me here knows I'm good enough for it. It's Kanye syndrome, right? But Donald has like acute Kanye syndrome.
I can't relate to that at all.
And I'm not gonna say it's not well deserved right now, right? Like, I feel like if Donald was on the SNL writing staff, the SNL might not be getting the shitty takes that it's getting at the moment. However, speaking of Donald, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith series dropped.
I've heard
it's good.
It's pretty good.
From what I've seen. Now, I will admit that I was watching it in between while trying to take care of my kids and be sick and also do stuff around the house this week.
Also, I want to give a shout out. I don't remember the actress's name, but she plays Kimiko in The Boys.
Maya Erskine. So it's Maya Erskine, Donald Glover, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, available on Amazon Prime. It's listed as a thriller. I saw an interview where they were asked Donald if he reached out to Brad at all for any like pointers or anything like that, and he said he was like, yeah, actually I did, and he kind of Brad Pitted his way out of it. I was like, what does that mean? And he was, but I understood exactly what it meant. He was like, yeah, no, you'll be fine. You'll do good, kid. Don't worry about it. And I was like, that sounds exactly like what Brad Pitt would say if somebody was to ask him about his role in Mr. and Mrs. What kind of advice do you give for that? Yeah, you gotta be smooth, kid, you know.
If you were gonna add, of all of Brad Pitt's movies, which ones do you think he would give a nuanced answer for?
Right.
And I love Brad Pitt.
But it's definitely not gonna be Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
He's gonna be like,
I don't know
I was
what
dating Angelina Jolie.
at the time.
Easy.
It was a tax write-off for us to go on vacation. I don't know what they expected.
Really entertaining tax write-off.
I don't know what they expected from that. I do recommend the show. I like the take on it. I like the, because this is a take I feel like does allow for more of an actual story that would have been interesting from and what made Mr. and Mrs. Smith interesting wasn't just Angelina and Brad, right? Like, obviously that's why we all went to see it, but the idea, it's actually like a fun idea. Like, that's why Spy Family popped off,
works,
right? Yeah, that's why Spy Family popped off, right?
Well, the concept of Spy Family is definitely very Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The reason Spy Family works is because of Anya.
Fair
The
enough.
reason that show works is because of the 5-year-old mind reader.
But I feel like Maya and Donald have good chemistry. I like seeing them. I like the idea of them building their relationship in a more filled out way than what we got from the movie, right? Like, their relationship was kind of already established and we had to, like, you know, fill in the blanks for ourselves. The movie was definitely more fan service than the show would be.
So, the movie was a super fun summer blockbuster, but there was room for expansion.
Yeah, totally.
I have no problems with Mr. or Mrs. Smith as a movie.
No.
I love that movie. That movie is awesome.
But I feel like taking the movie and expanding upon it.
Because, I mean, they're both in spy networks.
Yeah.
Spy networks are interesting.
That's a good concept, right? It doesn't feel as forced when it comes to remakes, which I know we're all getting, like, tired of at this point. It feels like the reverse of kind of what they were doing in the 90s and the 80s, where they were taking TV shows from like the 50s and the 60s and turning those into movies. Right now we're getting like kind of the reverse of that, where they take like a movie and we're turning it into a TV show, which you and I have been saying for a long time now. A lot of these movies feel like they would have been better off as TV series.
Scorsese's past few, I feel like he's almost making a movie out of spite, knowing the fact that it would be better as a miniseries.
I mean, I feel like The Irishman totally would have been
Killers
better.
of the Flower
The Moon would have been, yeah. But I mean, could you imagine what kind of budget it would take to get DiCaprio on a network television show?
I mean, also, like, it's not network.
I know, but like,
Scorsese, so I watched. Like I said,
just imagine.
I've been in a lot of like classic movie benders recently, and one of the ones that I watched was Gangs of New York, a Scorsese movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, and that movie is like 2.5 hours long, but that movie, if the movie itself was longer, then it could have been broken up more. Like, if they did more with, like, an episode about Priest Vannon landing on the shores of New York and trying to carve out his way of that neighborhood.
I think Gangs of New York could have worked in the same way that, like, Westworld or, what's the other one? Boardwalk Empire, right? Like,
once again, though, I will say, Gangs of New York also totally works as a movie.
Yeah, but I feel like the long drawn out, because some people get bored with the long drawn out character development parts. Those are things we expect from TV shows. So when you do movies like Gangs of New York, those, I feel like they do give pace better for people to kind of have more of a tolerance for that when it is a TV series.
Gangs of New York has a specific advantage in the fact that their villain, Bill the Butcher.
Billy Butcher.
Billy Butcher is the voice.
Billy Butcher and the Dead Wabbits.
I'm your good cunt, Billy Butcher. But Bill the Butcher is a static villain. He doesn't change, and that's the whole point of his character, is that he doesn't change. So the only character development that really has to happen is through Leo's character.
Yeah, the main character.
Yeah, Amsterdam.
Well, I mean, I feel like the same could be said about, like, Stringer Bell, right? Like, there's not, like, a whole lot of character development there.
No, Stringer Bell, like, went to college and graduated and ended up, like, buying property and shit.
Okay, well, I mean, Bill the Butcher could have... Yeah.
Avon is the one.
Bill the Butcher could have ended up trying to go straight and actually open up a butcher shop by the end of Kings of New York,
he
right?
He had a butcher shop the whole time. He would also just murder the sheriff in broad daylight.
You're right. I did forget that that's where the Butcher name comes from, right? It's been a while since I've seen Gangs of New York.
There was a great scene. Like, they had Leo's character fight one of the old guys, and they did like an old style boxing thing, like holding their two fists up in front of them. I remember that, yeah. And at the end of the fight, Butcher was like, "Good job," and they gave him a wad of chicken and threw it in his hand.
That is some very early 1900 shit to do, right? Because
no, that was pre-Civil War.
Was that pre-Civil War? Yeah,
pre-Civil War. The main driving, overarching threat to
the five
movie
was
the conscription draft.
The 5 points. Yeah, it was in the five boroughs.
It was the conscription draft.
Yeah.
And then the second time that they were supposed to have the war, the 5 points, the military just came in and fucked everyone over.
Yeah.
Like, just fire the cannons. Fuck you.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, because New York wasn't even, it was still New Amsterdam at that point.
No,
right?
It was New York.
Was it New York?
But
yeah.
The way that it was described, it was more of a bunch of tribes occupying territory.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was still, would you call it, not colonies, but what would you call them? Yeah, I guess it's small colonies of Dutch over here, Irish over here. Yeah. Yep.
As Bill the Butcher's group was called, the Natives.
That was when New York still had like swampland and shit in it.
Fantastic movie. Scorsese could direct a hell of a movie that's placed between 1850 and 1950.
That seems to be the sweet spot for directors like him, and just like Christopher Nolan likes his long, drawn-out mind benders.
Batman.
I would argue still a long, drawn-out mind bender.
The third one, Dark Knight Rises, is the worst of the trilogy. By far. It really is. And I think people forget how good of a movie Batman Begins is.
Who was the main villain in Batman Begins?
Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow.
Okay, yeah. Yep. Because that's why they were excited that Scarecrow might be the feature in the sequel to the Batman movie that just came out. The Batman.
Oh my god, I really hope that they don't do the Joker the way that he was originally shown in that, like...
In the teaser cut.
It's so bad. I just watched...
It's
watched
bad.
The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix.
I still haven't seen that one yet. I feel like I'm going to be disappointed because of all the hype around it.
As a...
And I'm not 14 anymore.
As a fan of the character of Joker, I will say that this is not my first overall reaction. This is like my second tertiary reaction to the film, but relevant to the character of the Joker. My first thought was, he doesn't become that character until like the last 3 minutes of the film. And I still don't totally buy into it. But if we're going to talk about a film that just, says we need empathy for people with mental illness, that movie fucking was heavy-handed, but that is shit. To the point where he was talking to Robert De Niro, and he was like, "Oh, so we're gonna talk about people with mental illness and treat them like absolute shit? Well, of course, I'm gonna do what y'all deserve," and blows Robert De Niro's brains out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what that was like the scene everybody was like, "I feel like I'm heard," and I was like, if that's the scene that makes you guys feel like you're heard, then I think the movie's telling y'all to go get therapy. Like, this isn't saying like, yeah, I get why you guys become Jokers. It's trying to explain to other people like, no, this is why people relate to characters like the Joker, right? Like, I think a lot of the edgelords who watched that movie took the wrong thing from it, right? And they came away from it going, we live in a society, right? Instead, where they should look at it and go, oh, the Joker is not a character to admire either here in this instance.
The thing with the Joker is what happened in The Joker, the progression of Arthur's character, makes sense. The Joker is not supposed to make sense. He's like Heath said, he's like a dog chasing a car.
Yeah,
he doesn't know what he's gonna do with it.
No, and not even just that. I don't think the Joker has a goal, right? His goal is chaos. He is just like Batman.
His ultimate goal is to be killed by Batman, because that would be the ultimate victory of chaos over order.
Yeah, because Batman, as I was going to say, Batman is the personification of justice. So
order, not justice. Order.
So, excuse me, calm down. The Joker is the personification of chaos. Like, he exists as a literal antithesis. He's even said if Batman quit, he would quit. Because...
where's the fun in it for him?
He's literally just there to make Batman kill people because he does not like the fact. That's why his goal is to be killed by Batman.
Yeah.
Because in Batman's pursuit of justice and order, he is trying to put criminals through due process,
and
right?
Joker sees Batman, because if Joker's goal is to show that chaos can corrupt everything, and his one antithesis is Batman, and Batman has his one rule that he will not kill, Joker is now trying to cause a level of chaos so great that he can corrupt even the incorruptible
Batman into killing
chaos.
him, right? That guy is not a relatable character.
No,
I don't.
He's a fascinating character.
I also don't feel like,
but he's fascinating because he's not relatable.
he is a good avatar or spokesperson for mental illness, bro. It was not a great idea to tell that story through him. I get the depiction of how we can drive people to go postal as a society with our standards and practices, but I also am a bit over this whole it's our fault school shooters happen narrative, because even the idea that the Columbine kids were bullied was a kind of whitewashing of what was actually going on with those guys, right? Like,
Chicago.
They were not like bullied, they were the bullies, right? Yeah, they were the bullies, and it was well documented their animosity and their aggression towards their peers way before any of that Columbine shit actually happened, right? So this idea...
oh, look, Kansas City just got a touchdown.
And we're at the bottom of the third, right?
Bottom of the third.
And they are now
Wrong
up by
sport.
2. I mean, it's still a good way to say it, though.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're just being contrarian.
Of course I am.
Yeah.
Speaking of good news, by the way.
It is the last 2 minutes of the third quarter.
Speaking of good news, the Baltimore Orioles have been sold to Baltimore billionaire David Rubenstein.
Now explain to everybody why this is a good thing for Baltimore.
So the Orioles were like the best team in baseball last year. They also had the 27th highest payroll out of 30.
That's wild that they were able to manage being one of the best teams to not make it to the World Series with the third lowest pay rate in the league.
Yeah, we also had the manager of the year, the rookie of the year, and the best catcher in the league, and the best prospect in the league, and the best farm system. Because we finally got Mike Elias, who is a fucking genius. He's the reason that the Astros got as good as they are for the past, like, decade. Oh, that and cheating. For them.
So we got their top cheater. Okay, this is starting to add up.
He was the smarts who was like, this is the plan. And then somebody else was like, yeah, but what if we bang on a trash can when we know what they're gonna throw?
Which has to be like the dumbest way.
It
is one of the most
what they were doing.
cartoonish ways ever.
This is the most hilarious thing.
It made you look at Deflategate a little bit differently, didn't it? You were like,
yeah,
well,
that sounds like big brain shit compared to the Astros.
The banging on a trash can thing sounds like something either Stan or Homer would come up with, don't it? Right? if Homer was coaching a major league game and he was worried if he would win it or not.
Yeah. I think the Orioles' overall payroll for this year was under $100,000.
Oh, that's a Stan. I meant Randy. So Baltimore sports looking pretty good, right?
Yeah, so Baltimore Orioles payroll last year was just over $71 million, and I'm pretty sure the Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers all spent over $200 million.
Right. So the fact that
Peter Angelos or John Angelos was like, yeah, no, we can't sign anybody. If we have to extend any of our like generational talent players, we'll have to increase ticket prices. And then David Rubenstein is just like, yeah, no, I like the Orioles, and we can win a World Series. Can I buy this team so we can win a World Series?
Yeah, I was gonna say the fact that we made it that close to the World Series and had that tiny of a budget does speak to a lot, right?
And the Orioles also just traded, like the day after the sale, traded for former Cy Young winner Corbin Burns from the Brewers, who makes $17 million a year, which already shows you that this new ownership group does not give a fuck about the checkbook, and that
is good news.
Is great news.
It's good news.
This all happened within days after the Ravens getting knocked out from the AFC Championship.
What's not good news is, as of recording, it looks like the 49ers have suffered another injury. Was it them who had a player get injured earlier?
I don't know.
My man is like, I am not. I was just
long as
watching the
it's
Super
not Christian
Bowl.
McCaffrey, I need someone to represent my delegation.
I was just watching the Super Bowl for the halftime show. How many of y'all just watched the Super Bowl for the halftime show this year? Be honest. Be honest. Yep,
I mean,
number 55 going out on the 49ers side.
That's kind of how I felt about the Super Bowl with Eminem and Dre and Snoop 50.
My man was like, yeah, no, I am just here for the halftime show. Wasn't that a Ravens Super Bowl?
No, that was like 2 years ago.
Who played that?
I think that was the Buccaneers Super Bowl.
That was
no, that wasn't
56. Oh, that was Cincinnati at Rams.
Right. Yep. I remember that. LA Rams at LA.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago, or was that last year?
This is 58, so that was 56. That was, yeah, so it was 2 years ago.
So the Chiefs did win the Super Bowl last year. This is how much I actually give a fuck about football. I could probably name every Super Bowl champion from 2001 to 2018, but I can't do it anymore. I can still name every NBA champion from 1989 to present day.
Yeah, that was the Chiefs and the Eagles game last year.
Pistons.
And the Eagles lost by 3 points.
Pistons, Bulls. Rockets, Bulls. Spurs, Lakers. Spurs, Pistons, Heat, Spurs, Celtics, Lakers. Mavericks, Heat, Spurs, Warriors, Cavs, Warriors. Raptors, Lakers, Bucks, Nugget. Now we're here.
And I think that's the perfect cue for us to go ahead and wrap this up. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back at y'all with some more highlights from this week.
I didn't Google that.
Look, it's a flood. It's flooding.
Get away.
Quick, we need to get to higher ground.
Open the floodgates.
Wait, why can't we talk about Black Sabbath?